Is the end of an era in tennis near? Novak Djokovic, one of the greatest players of all time, has been synonymous with excellence on the courts for almost 2 decades. But in 2025, the Serbian's future looks more uncertain than ever, and some recent statements have set off alarm bells. An unexpected revelation about his sponsorship deal with Lacoste has put a possible retirement date on the table. Could 2028 be the year Djokovic says goodbye to professional tennis? Join us to find out what is really known about the future of this living legend. Novak Djokovic needs no introduction. With multiple Grand Slam titles, impressive records, and admirable longevity, his legacy is secured. However, at 37, physical wear and tear is becoming evident. The year 2025 has been especially difficult for him. Injuries, absences from key tournaments, and irregular performances are creating uncertainty. Although he is still capable of reaching finals, as he showed in one of the 5 tournaments played this year, the frequent early round exits hint at a possible decline. Fans are wondering if this is the beginning of the end for Noel. The key to the recent rumor lies in an interview with Lacoste CEO Thierry Guibert. In it, the executive revealed that Djokovic intends to compete until the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. If true, this would mean the player aims to remain active on the circuit for another 3 years, until age 41. Guibert confirmed they are in negotiations to extend the contract, which suggests both the brand and Djokovic himself consider this a viable possibility. The news surprised many, as such a distant horizon had not been publicly discussed until now. While sponsorship contracts don't always dictate athletes' sporting calendars, they are often a clue about their plans. In Djokovic's case, his relationship with Lacoste has been solid and consistent, and the fact that both sides want to continue the partnership indicates that the player is still motivated. However, this contrasts with the reality seen on the courts this season, where physical issues have led him to withdraw from major events. Can he maintain a high enough level to remain competitive until 2028? His absence from tournaments like the Rome Masters 1000 is especially alarming. Unlike previous years, Djokovic has started to be more selective with his schedule, which suggests a focus on protecting his body. While this could be interpreted as a strategy to prolong his career, it could also be a sign that recovery times are longer and wear is affecting his performance. In this context, thinking about 3 more years of high-level competition seems, at the very least, risky. One of the most interesting points of this story is Djokovic's determination. Despite the difficulties, he has stated that he still feels he has much to offer. That mindset has been key in his career, allowing him to overcome tough moments and reinvent himself time and again. However, professional tennis is demanding, and motivation alone is not enough. The question is whether he can continue to be competitive against a rising generation led by names like Alcaraz and Sinner. It remains to be seen how the rest of his season unfolds. With Roland Garros as his next major goal, Djokovic will have the chance to prove he is still relevant. Though he arrives with doubts, a strong performance at the French tournament could completely shift the current narrative. In the past, he has bounced back just when everyone counted him out. Perhaps this will be another one of those moments when the Serbian rises again and reaffirms his place in sports history. Recent tennis history has shown that longevity has become an achievable virtue, but one difficult to maintain. Roger Federer retired at 41, but his final years were plagued by injuries. Rafael Nadal, for his part, has struggled with constant ailments that have limited his appearances. In that context, Djokovic could be following a similar path, trying to stretch his time at the top as much as possible, even if that means competing intermittently. The difference is that Noel still shows flashes of his best level, something his veteran rivals no longer managed. From the ATP's perspective, keeping figures like Djokovic active is strategic. His presence guarantees audiences, excitement, and media attention. Moreover, his possible participation in the Los Angeles Olympics would be a huge commercial draw. Olympic tennis has gained relevance, and having a veteran champion like Djokovic competing for one last medal would generate massive global impact. This partly explains why brands like Lacoste want to stay connected to his image for longer. On a personal level, Djokovic has always shown enormous commitment to his sporting goals. The idea of retiring after the Olympics would not only provide an epic end to his career, but also allow him time to prepare for the event. His obsession with planning, physical care, and mental preparation is well known. If anyone can map out 3 more years at the elite level, it's him. But the challenge lies in whether his body can support such an ambitious goal. The competition has also changed. With the arrival of new figures like Jannik Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, and Holger Rune, the circuit has become younger, more dynamic, and more demanding. Djokovic has already shown he can beat these players, but each passing year makes that task harder. The freshness, speed, and endurance of the new generation could play against him, especially if he continues to lose rhythm due to prolonged breaks. To keep up, he'll need to reinvent himself once again. It's important to remember that beyond results, Djokovic remains a role model. His discipline, winning mentality, and ability to adapt have been key to his success. Even if his results are no longer consistent, he remains a feared and respected opponent. This also influences his decision to keep playing. As long as his name carries weight in the draw and his motivation remains intact, there are reasons not to hang up the racket just yet. But time waits for no one. The coming months will be decisive. Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and the US Open could set a clear trend. If Djokovic achieves good results, the idea that he still has fuel left will be reinforced. But if early exits become the norm, the scenario will change. His fans can only wait and support him, aware that each match could be one of the final chapters of one of the most impressive stories tennis has ever produced. The possible retirement of Novak Djokovic in 2028 has generated both excitement and skepticism. On one hand, the idea of seeing him compete at an Olympics at age 41 is inspiring. On the other, the evident physical wear and irregular results this season raise reasonable doubts about whether he can remain at the top for much longer. The decision, however, seems to lie in Djokovic's own hands. His desire to keep competing remains unshaken. Whatever the outcome, it's clear that the end of the Djokovic era is closer than ever. With each tournament, each injury, and each victory or defeat, the epilogue of an extraordinary career is being written. If 2028 is truly his final stop, we still have moments left to enjoy his game. And if retirement comes sooner, his legacy will remain one of the greatest in sports history. Is Novak Djokovic losing the spark that made him invincible? With nearly 2 decades at the top of tennis, the Serbian is now facing one of the most challenging moments of his career. Doubts about his motivation, physical condition, and future are mounting as his performance declines and criticism increases. But amid that uncertainty, Djokovic has made a strategic decision that could change his course. He has confirmed his participation in an unexpected tournament just before Roland Garros, with his eyes on a 25th Grand Slam. Could this move restore his champion form? Novak Djokovic is not having his best year. With a record of 12 wins and 7 losses so far this season, the numbers don't reflect the Serbian's greatness. His early exit at the Mutua Madrid Open to Matteo Arnaldi, in a clear 6-3, 6-4 loss, showed that something is off. Add to that his withdrawal from the Rome Masters 1000, a tournament he hadn't missed since 2007. This absence raised eyebrows and sparked rumors about his physical and emotional state. Many wonder if this is just a slump or the beginning of the end. To answer those doubts, Djokovic has decided to compete in the ATP 250 tournament in Geneva, a smaller but strategic event. This tournament will take place just 1 week before Roland Garros and has a clear goal: to regain rhythm, confidence, and feel. Although he usually skips such small events, the Serbian knows he needs court time. His coaching team, aware of the urgency, chose to include this stop in his calendar. The message is clear: he wants to be as prepared as possible for Paris, where he will pursue his 100th title and 25th Grand Slam. The context is not easy. Djokovic has lost all of his clay court matches this year, with 2 defeats in 2 tournaments. This contrasts with his historic performance on the surface, where he has often dominated. The pressure is high, especially because the favorites for Roland Garros are not him, but 2 emerging stars, Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Both have shown great form, and if Djokovic wants to compete with them, he must quickly rediscover his level. Geneva will be his final test before the big challenge. Adding to this is the opinion of Patrick Muratoglu, one of the most respected coaches on the circuit. His comments on Djokovic were not encouraging. He noted that Djokovic seems unmotivated, physically unprepared, and lacking the intensity that once defined him. Such statements do not go unnoticed, and while they may be interpreted as constructive criticism, they also reflect the growing perception that Djokovic has lost some of his inner fire. For a competitor like him, that may be more worrying than an injury. Despite recent setbacks, Djokovic should not be underestimated. In 2023, he won 3 of the 4 Grand Slams, an achievement within reach of very few. His experience, tactical intelligence, and mental resilience remain powerful weapons. But the question is whether those qualities will be enough against younger, faster, and fresher rivals. The decision to play in Geneva may be an effort to fine-tune details, but also a sign that his path to success is no longer as straightforward as before. What's clear is that even amid this storm, Djokovic continues to generate attention. Every move he makes is closely watched, every decision analyzed for clues about his future. His choice not to give up, but instead to add a last-minute tournament, shows he still has hunger. He's not ready to let doubt define his legacy. That's why Geneva will be more than just a warm-up, it will be a statement of intent. The ATP 250 in Geneva represents a golden opportunity for Djokovic. Not only will he face theoretically less demanding rivals, but he'll also be able to build confidence without the pressure of major events. These kinds of tournaments are usually ignored by top players, but right now, every match counts for him. He'll be able to adjust his serve, test his movement on clay, and, above all, reconnect with positive sensations before stepping onto the Roland Garros clay. It's a tactical decision, but also an emotional one. Another crucial element is motivation. At 37, finding new incentives is not easy. He has already won everything and broken nearly every possible record. But tennis, like life, feeds on challenges. Reaching 100 ATP titles and winning a 25th Grand Slam are goals that could keep him focused. However, according to Muratoglu, the current spark isn't there. Rekindling it is not just a matter of training harder, but of reconnecting with the passion that made him a legend. Perhaps Geneva will help him achieve that. The environment also plays a fundamental role. Djokovic is not just surrounded by coaches, but also by advisors and experts who monitor his physical and mental state. His team has proven effective over the years, adapting his preparation to each stage of his career. Their decision to modify the calendar at the last minute indicates flexibility, but also concern. This is a short-term gamble, an attempt to arrive at a tournament that could define whether 2025 is a year of resurgence or the beginning of retirement. Criticism, on the other hand, could have a positive effect. Djokovic has historically responded well under pressure. External doubts have often driven him to prove otherwise. On many occasions, he has come back stronger after a fall. That resilience could work in his favor now. If he gets a good result in Geneva, he would arrive not only better prepared physically, but also with an important mental boost. And at Roland Garros, every detail matters. Competitively, the outlook is complicated. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner are not only favorites because of their youth but also because of their excellent current form. Both have recently beaten Djokovic and represent the generational shift. Facing them in Paris without adequate match play would be risky. That's why the decision to play in Geneva could mark the difference between an early exit or a deep run in the tournament. Even if he doesn't win, every match will help him gauge his level for what lies ahead. In the end, Djokovic is writing one of the most complex chapters of his career. It's not just a battle against the opponent on the other side of the net, but against time, self-belief, and expectations. The inclusion of the Geneva ATP is a small gesture, but full of meaning. He wants to keep fighting, wants to show he hasn't said his last word yet. And perhaps, with that determination, he can surprise the world once more.